Hi, welcome to Diamond Logistics, and this is the first of our instructional videos that tell you all you need to know about same-day courier. So let's answer the big question first. What is actually a same-day courier, Dan?
Well, it's effectively chauffeur driving goods from point A to point B in a dedicated vehicle, or indeed at least a vehicle that's going to do maybe 2 or 3 drops on the way up to the final destination. So it means that there's a huge amount of control.
I think the difference between same-day courier and an overnight courier or carrier even, is that within same day, it's only one set of hands that's touching your goods. And as a result of that, you've got a far less margin for error, whereas an overnight carrier is a consolidated service and it passes through many hands. And obviously there's a tiny margin of error. But if you've got something which is like really urgent or important, or indeed really fragile, then same-day courier is the one for you, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's about that high value, the increased control that you've got over the delivery. So it means that there's things less likely to go wrong with that.
It's basically if the cost of the goods not arriving far outweighs the cost of you delivering it from A to B, then same-day courier is the choice for you. Do you need an account to book same-day?
Not necessarily. We can take credit card bookings, but clearly with an account, if you've got a regular requirement, then you may be able to achieve some discounts off of the back of you having an account with us.
Well, you're always one for the bargain, Dan. I'm probably on the other end of the scale. From my perspective, yes, you can book your same-day stuff via credit card on any of our main service centre numbers. But ultimately speaking, if you're going to need it outside of hours, you will need an account. And ultimately speaking, when we do have peak demand, because same day can be very reactive dependent on what season it is or before Christmas or whatever it is, of course our account customers are going to get priority. So if you want to ensure the very best service at the very best price, then you want to get an account with Diamond today. Does same day actually mean same day?
Not necessarily, no. It depends upon the time in which you make the booking, and of course how far the delivery is. So it's going to take as long as the journey effectively takes. It's all about it being delivered, from point A to point B. There might be additional drops in between, but it's that dedicated vehicle.
There's all sorts of instances whereby, for example, we've had clients that have been working on a tender until really late at night, and they'll phone us up 8-10 o'clock from Guildford, for example, and it needs to be in Edinburgh the very next morning. Now, that would be outside the parameters of an overnight carrier or international carriers collection service. So that same day element means you've got that flexibility of collection and delivery time, doesn't it?
Exactly, and it also, we do have some clients that might put, for argument's sake, kind of 20 drops in central London for that one vehicle, and they just know that it's they're booking the same day because they're getting that vehicle, that one vehicle that's going to be doing all of those drops in the same day. When
you're talking about same day, what would you say are the best kind of things that give an example of why same day would be a really good service? I mean, for me, off the top of my head, from personal experience, there's been blood transfusions delivered by Diamond when I actually needed one. That was pretty cool. Stuff for people on operating theatres. What other kind of stuff? Tenders?
Yeah, tenders, testing.
Stuff to exhibitions?
Testing. Absolutely, because you've got that element of control. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful things that we've transported on the same day service over the years.
There really is.
From fuel samples to testing labs to COVID, samples and such like. In the fight against the pandemic, we've done an awful lot of work around that. Like you said earlier on, if the cost of the goods not getting there within a timely fashion means that you can't take that risk, then you have to book that same day service.
So we keep on saying this, but if it's urgent and important, then book a same day courier. So Dan, I know an awful lot of people have put off same day courier because of their perceived cost. What are your thoughts on that?
It's not as expensive as people might think it is. Effectively, it's in some occasions it's more cost effective than an overnight service. And one of the good things that we offer within our solution, in particular for argument's sake, is when somebody is booking an overnight delivery, and let's say they're selecting time delivery functions and things like that, the system will actually give a same day price. And you'll be really, really surprised on how many people actually end up upgrading an overnight delivery to a same day because the cost difference isn't that much.
And where would you say that the cost thing comes into its own? From my perspective, local deliveries are often more cost effective same day, but also when you've got a really big consignment, when you can actually fill a vehicle with, that can still be more cost effective, can't it?
Absolutely. You know, and even when people are sending pallets through an overnight pallet provider, you know, if they've got 3 or 4 pallets going to one destination and the mileage isn't huge, and actually, in most occasions, it's more cost effective to have a vehicle that's going to drive it there than putting it on a pallet network.
I think it would also be worthwhile sort of underlying the risk cost benefits. And again, we always say this, that if the cost of your goods not arriving far outweighs the cost of the dispatch, then it's really important to do that. We've had people that have dispatched £82 million worth of tenders that were due to go up to Edinburgh from Guildford, do you remember that?
Yep.
And the receptionist was new and she wanted to put that on an overnight carrier. Now the cost of those goods not arriving at the 12 o'clock tender time would have been catastrophic for their business. As it was, we upgraded it to a same day courier and they happily won the tender. So same day for when it's really urgent and important, time bound, and when it absolutely positively has to be there.
Do you know, I'm gonna throw one out there now as well. You know, it's almost the equivalent of you catching a bus or catching a taxi. You know, sometimes it's appropriate to catch a bus. Because
That's
it's
a really
a lot more cost effective, you know, but you're going to stop many times along the way. It's going to take you a lot longer. You're going to have to wait around for the bus in the beginning. Whereas sometimes it's way more convenient and it's worth paying that little bit extra to catch a taxi, knowing that when it's chucking it down with rain outside, you're going to just go, you're not going to be waiting around, you're going to get there far, far quicker.
That's actually a really good analogy. So you're just going to have to decide whether you fancy a bus or if you fancy a chauffeur-driven car, aren't you? So Dan, we know with the overnight collections, there tends to be a daily cut-off, you know, sort of 3, 4, 5 o'clock, so that we can consolidate the consignments back at Diamond HQ. Is there an equivalent cut-off for same-day courier?
Absolutely not. No, it's and that's the beauty about the service. It's that flexibility and that reactiveness that we're able to offer the client, and that means that we can run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I know we've won some of our best clients when we've answered the phone out of hours. The most important thing is that you need to be an account holder to be able to access these kind of services. So if you need a courier 24/7 as your 5th emergency service, then you need to get an account open today. So what is the maximum size of the goods that people can send on a same-day courier, Dan?
Well, it's vehicle specific effectively, and we have a range of vehicles that go from motorcycles right the way through to Arctic vehicles. So it's all about choosing the right vehicle. Effectively, that means that we can transport anything in theory. You know, whatever the customer needs, we will find a vehicle and the solution for it.
Absolutely. I think the sort of rule of thumb is the larger the vehicle, more notice that we probably need.
Absolutely.
So motorcycles, small vans, and anything up to a long wheelbase transit van tends to be ad hoc and same day. That's no problem. But the larger the vehicle, the more warning we've got for your dedicated delivery, the more likely it is that we're going to be able to provide that for you. One other bit I wanted to say about the maximum size of goods to go into a vehicle is that the thing is that you've rented the vehicle effectively. You've rented the driver and the vehicle to go to your destination. So if you want to fill it up, that can be a really cost-effective way of moving a lot of goods, and they can do drops along the way too, can't they? So in some occasions that works out as being a little more cost-effective than maybe using an overnight carrier, because people do multi-drops on the way.
Yeah, so if you divide that complete cost by the number of deliveries or the number of parcels that you're transporting, actually it's a very cost-effective service in a lot of occasions.
It's all the economies of scale, but still using a same-day courier. So here's a big question, then what's the difference between Diamond Logistics and any other courier company? Well, I'm going to talk about people, which is pretty standard, and Dan's going to talk to you about technology. But effectively speaking, you're talking about a business that's got 30 years heritage. We were established on the 16th of March 1992, and our couriers are our ambassadors on the road. They're CRB checked, They're fully trained. A lot of them have had tens of years of experience that, combined with our, oh gosh, it's probably nearing thousands of years collective experience within the business, we kind of know what we're doing. So, you know, we've been working with F1 racing teams, Department of Health, NHS, you know, all the people that have got really urgent and important requirements for a really long time. So you can rest assured that we really know what we're doing. But what we've had to do is to twin that expertise with innovation to make sure that we're on the forefront of your client experience. And that's the bit that you can tell us all about, Dan, with Dispatch Lab.
That's the bit that excites me. Yeah. So I suppose there's a couple of things really when it comes to the technology. The power of what we're doing at Diamond Logistics is that we've got, you know, 30 plus service centres across the whole of the UK, each that are controlling their own drivers. So when it comes to the technology, the trick to it all was to tie all of that resource together and get that capability and the power of that network together in one technological piece. And what that's enabled us to do is make sure that we've got a driver app out there so every single driver is trackable in real terms, so that our clients have that peace of mind that when they do book that same day courier service, they actually have the ability to even have a look at where that driver is en route to their destination. But at the same time, from our perspective, it helps us feed our drivers. And it means that we've got very happy drivers out there that are, you know, making sure that they're earning not just one way from A to B, but they're also earning back from B to A again, or B to C.
Well, that's got some really important ecological impacts as well, because that means we're minimising even our empty vehicles, so we maximise the load. So that means we've got happy drivers, we're trying to do our best for a happy environment. And also, you know, if you're a receptionist or a dispatch manager and you've got your boss in your ear saying, where's that consignment, then you're going to be able to track that online with a really simple to use client interface. So ultimately speaking, it's a really easy to use user experience, and you can rely on us to deliver. So Dan, and you know this is my favourite question, who is the kind of client who is ideal for a Diamond client? A Diamond client,
I'll let
client.
you start.
Well, you know, like F1 racing company would be a really good ideal Diamond client. In fact, we may have one whose name shall remain silent. Otherwise, I'd be paying for sponsorship even. But really, it's people who service is orientated around being fast and quick and urgent and incredibly important. So we also do a lot of work with like blood and pathology, and also a few people who want to make a bit of a splash, right? So if you're talking about doing a big PR release or something to that effect and you want stuff delivered simultaneously, then same day courier can help you really stand aside from the competition, can't it?
Yeah, it's that level of control, isn't it, I guess? You know, you can dictate far more to a same day courier than you can an overnight carrier, effectively, because the driver's taking your goods in that dedicated vehicle. So I think it's that element of control. If you want to wow your customers, or you want that speed of service, or your goods are valuable, or it's really, really urgent, you know, like it would be in bloods and pathology and even in F1 racing, etc.
Absolutely. And lots of tenders. If tenders are still delivered by hard copy, I think that's really important. And court documents, I think that's really important. We do a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. So and other things, I mean, obviously Murray would like us to say that we'd like them to pay us promptly, but most importantly, despite the fact that you can track your consignment on Dispatch Lab from collection to delivery, we're probably best suited for the company who will leave us to it and ensure that we deliver your consignments for you, because frankly, if you've got time to be tracking us between here and London, then you're probably not busy enough. So if you think you're our kind of client and you think we might be a great fit, then don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our video. Hopefully that's answered some of your burning questions about Diamond Logistics same-day courier service. If you've got anything else you'd like to discuss, or you'd like to find out more, or indeed open an account, then either click on the form below or phone us today, and we'll really look forward to hearing from you.